CBS Sports and the LPGA Tour bring you the Meijer LPGA Classic for Simply Give, part of the season-long race for the CME Globe. Solemn and celebratory weekend here. Juneteenth yesterday, Grand Rapids. Father's Day today, up here at Blythefield, a few miles north of downtown Grand Rapids, and it is just stunning renovations since the last time we were here, and what a day to bring Dad out to the golf course. Fans are back on the LPGA Tour for the first time since the pandemic in spring of last year. Nelly Corder leading Leona Mcguire by 1. Two-time major champ In-Gee Chun tied for third, having a great day. Britney Altomare, the American, looking for her first victory. Lexi Thompson, a past winner here. Came so close to winning the U.S. Women's Open just a couple of weeks ago. Britney Altomare now just 3 shots back, and Jim Gallagher is watching her at the par 5 14th.
Yeah, thank you, Grant. She drove it in the right rough and kind of hit kind of a run-up shot to the right side. Really didn't have much green to work with and chipped it up to here. Maybe 10 feet, maybe left edge. She's one of the best putters on the LPGA. Maybe in the world.
I think certainly her peers definitely regard her as that. And as we watch her, I mean, you've got to love how her shoulders rock straight back, straight through. Really forearms in sync with the putter shaft.
Yeah, just hit that through the break.
30 years old, from Massachusetts, played collegiately at the University of Virginia, where she was a 4-time All-America. Now a Solheim Cup player for the United States, still in search of that first victory. And a good day for Britney, who was second here the last time this Meijer LPGA Classic was played back in 2019. A par for Mcguire at the 12th. Nelly Corder's lead is 1.
The Meijer LPGA Classic on CBS Sports is sponsored by Meijer and the Simply Give program that restocks food pantries across the Midwest. And by Voice Caddy, golf experience advanced.
Hello, I'm Rick Keys, President and CEO of Meijer, a Grand Rapids, Michigan-based retailer with more than 259 supercenters across the Midwest. As a privately owned company, we care about the communities we serve. We're excited to bring the world's best golfers back to Grand Rapids for the Meijer LPGA Classic for Simply Give, especially after the incredible challenges we all faced in 2020. The Meijer LPGA Classic has always been more than a golf tournament because of what it stands for: feeding our hungry neighbors. Thanks to incredible community support, our previous tournaments generated the equivalent of more than 63 million meals. We look forward to making an even bigger impact this year. On behalf of Meijer, I'd like to thank the LPGA, the volunteers, tournament staff, sponsors, and the great team at Blythefield Country Club who helped make this another fantastic event. Our food pantry partners also deserve a special recognition for feeding families in need. Now, let's get back to the tournament.
Yeah, the LPGA Tour has been coming here since 2014 when Mi Rim Lee was the winner, and it has become a very popular stop on the LPGA Tour. We're out to the tee at the 15th is Jessica Corder, the older sister of Nelly.
You have so much clothes on, and you have hot rings. Great. Beautiful. Not for students.
Not fishing.
Not fishing. Because you have those little chairs like to get out here. Goldfish fishing.
There's a little uphill this hole. And she's just dragged that into the bunker on the left. You can see the flag back left today.
She was trying to play a controlled shot there, Tom, and just slowed down too much. She was obviously caught between clubs, decided on the bigger club, and And really, with everything slowing down, the hips slow down, and that's what you get. You get that pull.
Britney Altomare's got a chance here. She's got a chance to win for the first time on the LPGA Tour, but I think she's got to birdie in from here, Karen, and a good tee shot would be the start of that.
Okay, this is a 6-iron, and typically anything less than a 6-iron, if you're looking at an 8-iron, is more of a green-like club. This one should be nearer the middle of the green, but when you're trying to make up some ground, you might have to push the limits a bit.
And that's dragged over into the same spot. 127 starts on the tour for Altomare and no win yet. But while we have a moment, let's go up to Grant and Karen.
And hello, dads, and all of you watching on this Father's Day Sunday. It's the first of 2 LPGA final round telecasts on CBS this summer. And Karen, what the contrast we have with the 2 players at the top of the leaderboard. One of the cover girls of the LPGA. She's on golf magazines with her sister Jessica, Nelly Corder. Leona Mcguire went the amateur college route, and they've got quite a battle going here this weekend.
They do, and it's really quite amazing when you look at the routes they've taken to get to this point. I mean, obviously, we see Nelly as the big superstar coming out with all the firepower, but you look at Leona. I mean, she's a little feisty character that really can get the job done and really coming into her own. Bit of a late bloomer probably when it comes to golf, because we're all about the child phenom and what's going on and how young you can do it. But Leona is coming into this a little bit later. It doesn't mean she's going to be any less of a player overall when you work out their body of work. But in general, this is a good test for them, and something that we're going to see throughout the course of the year, moving forward into the Solheim Cup as well, I believe.
Yeah, Leona could become the first from Ireland to make the Solheim Cup team for Team Europe. And she might be playing with this woman, Tom.
Yeah, the Englishwoman Georgia Hall has this for birdie at the 13th. 3's a good score today at 13. It's a long hole, 225 yards. They've got the tee back on the other side of the Rogue River, and playing as one of the hardest holes on the golf course. Georgia has a chance to qualify for the Great Britain team for the Olympics this week and next week until the cutoff. She's 55th in the world. The player who's taken that second spot right now is Charlie Hull at 40th. Let's go to 14.
And the second of the par 5 for Anna Nordquist. How would you characterize the rough here at Blythefield, Karen?
It's a bit patchy. They had a big renovation that was only completed in October. So there are places where the rough is established and it's pretty thick, and other places where it's fairly sparse. So she was obviously in a pretty thick spot.
15.
This is where Jessica Corder's tee shot finished up, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, you traditionally think a little bit short-sighted with these new bunkers coming away from the hill. Just not a good spot to leave yourself.
Yeah, since the last time the tour came to Blythefield Country Club, they've done a renovation, and one of the parts of that renovation were all new bunkers. They've added a few, taken a few away, but good work that's been done. That's what I was talking about, the tee at 13. It's on the other side of the river. You've got to walk across the Bridge of Sighs there on the left of your screen, which is named after the Bridge of Sighs in Italy. They built that in 1945. And it is a long way, one of the longest par 3s on the LPGA Tour.
It is, and the only thing difficult, Tom, about this shot is the length. The green's very unprotected for the most part, but for those who don't get the chance to watch a whole lot of LPGA and professional women's golf, to equate it to terms you're more familiar with, PGA Tour average driving distance is 17% farther than the LPGA. That equates to a 259-yard par 3 here.
Usually a 3-wood for the players out there. This is Saxstrom. Oh, doesn't like it. And that's way to the right, so she's got a lot of work to do here. Been a tough day for Madeleine Saxon, who began the day with a chance to win, but she's 2 over for the round. Back over to 15, and Altomare's ball did not find the sand. It's just in the edge of the bunker there. And that is a pretty tidy shot.
Well, and that goes against the grain, but what everybody thinks about is that a bunker shot would be easier than from the rough, but Altomare playing that splendidly.
Back up on the tee. at the 13th, and Leona Mcguire. One behind now. There's a little rise up just short of this green, which means it sort of stops the ball trundling onto the green. There's an example of that, but not a bad spot to leave it. It's just a long, tough par 3. Nelly, though, one of the longer players on tour, that makes the job a bit easier. Nelly, the highest ranked American in the world, 4th in the Rolex rankings. She's a 4-time winner on tour, and of course she's part of that Corder family. Father Peter, Grand Slam winner in tennis. Her brother Sebastian, a winner on the ATP tennis tour. Her mother was a tennis pro, played in the Olympics. 4 hybrid here, and that is a lovely shot from Nelly Corder, and it just shows the advantage of length. And a look at birdie to bounce back after that mistake on the previous hole.
Here's a name you might remember from the Augusta National Women's Amateur. She won the very first playing of that event. Jennifer Cupcho, the young American.
Very familiar with eagles and birdies. Normally with a hybrid in her hand, mind you, but this is a great look for her.
She eagled that 13th in a great second 9 duel with Maria Fassi. That one's getting a little bit better. Turned pro 2 years ago at the U.S. Women's Open, and she has threatened a couple of times, and she's threatening eagle at the 14th. A 3-shot lead for Nelly Corder when the round began is down to 1 as they play 13. Blythefield Country Club opened back in the late 1920s, and it's undergone a very impressive renovation, Karen.
It has. Chris Walensky was in charge of that, and he created some new tees, taken out some trees. But one of the biggest changes to this course has been the bunkering. They were completely redone all of them. I've taken some out, put some new ones in, and really given the players a slightly different look. And I think this is a very user-friendly course. Very much fun for the players to play, as well as the members.
And a Nordquist for birdie at the 14th. You see that coin belongs to Jennifer Kupcho. She'll have that for eagle, but a birdie for Nordquist, the 2-time major champion, 3rd only to Annika Sorenstam and Liselott Neumann in terms of LPGA Tour titles by Swedes. 15.
This is Altomare for pars. Good up and down. Okay, keeps her name in the mix here for a win. Remember, the 18th hole is a par 5, and that makes things interesting, doesn't it? We could have an eagle on the 18th. Back over at 13, Leona Mcguire trying to chip it in for a birdie.
Yeah, and even on these short pitch shots, she tends to fly it a lot farther than most players and spin it like that.
It's bang on line. That for a par. Trying to do something that no player from Ireland has ever done. Win on the LPGA Tour. We've had a couple of winners from Ireland on the PGA Tour. Roderick Harrington, Shane Lowry. You'll recognize those names. Remarkable. It's never happened on the LPGA Tour before. Let's go to the tee at the 16th.
A dogleg left par 4 where we find Britney Altomare.
Yeah, got to get it in the fairway up the left center. Would be the best place to get with this plateau location. That's perfect.
A 30-year-old from Massachusetts looking for her first LPGA Tour title. 13.
Birdie putt for Nelly Corder.
Just turning a little bit right.
Is it a 2? Oh, it was right there. She had it if she'd hit it. We've only had 6 birdies today on the 13th. The hole it's playing as the hardest on the golf course. Less than 40% of the field have hit the green here. As we take a look at that reaction, that ball was right there and she knew it. That would have been a great response to the bogey. And we'll go to the 14th.
And Jennifer Cupcho, 25th, Karen, in the world rankings.
Well, and when you consider that she's 25th in the world rankings without posting a win on the LPGA Tour, this means she's a very consistent player across the board, and one of those players that we look at and think, how in the world has she not won yet? can only be a matter of time.
Just a couple of years on tour for Jennifer Kupcho. For Lexi Thompson, one of the faces of the LPGA Tour. In her 10th season. Winner here back in 2015. She's won 11 times, including a major, and oh so close. Oh so close at the U.S. Women's Open. She shot 41 on the back nine. Lexi is one of 4 in line to make the U.S. Olympic team. Now, the cutoff will be after next week's Kpmg Women's PGA Championship. Look at the bottom there. That's important. So for Jessica Corder, she not only has to stay ahead of Allie Ewing and Cupcho and the others, she's got to stay inside the top 15 in the world rankings.
That's why this week is important for her. Get off to a good start, post some good numbers, get as many points as you possibly can, and then next week you go into the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship. All to play for there at the next ladies major.
13.
Yeah, back over to Leona Mcguire, and this is a really important putt.
Very straight-looking putt. 9th ranked putter on tour this season, but 61st ranked in overall scrambling.
I think, Jerry, you mentioned a good point there. You know, you think about scrambling. Scrambling involves the chip as well. And she seems to be a little one-dimensional with that chipping. You mentioned it, that she likes to play that lofted shot. And maybe adding a few more shots would help that scrambling number.
Oh! Wow! Catches just enough of the hole. And that is a little smile from Leona Mcguire. It was so close to just popping out.
I think this is greater than a 360, Tom. Is it? Yeah, that's like a 400 degree.
So Leona Mcguire, who was one of the best amateurs to ever play the game, looking for her first win on tour.
Well, after a little luck of the Irish curling in that par putt, Leona Mcguire still just 1 down to Nelly Corder.
Started comfortably right of the pond at the bend of this fairway.
Karen, Nelly is the bigger hitter of the two. Nelly is number 1 on the LPGA Tour in par 5 scoring average, but Leona is 6th this year.
Well, Leona's gained a bit of yardage off her tee ball. She's gained 17 yards, so that will help. But Jerry, Nelly is impressive with this club, isn't she?
Yes, she never hits it left. She either hits a good one down the middle or for some reason gets laid on it occasionally, and it's just a straight push. And that one started a little right, but has some draw on it.
They've both been great on the par 5s this week. Leona's 13 under, Nelly is 12 under. This is 16, and Altomare, the closest chaser, with holes to play.
This hole plays about 15 yards uphill. That equates to about a club and a half for players on the LPGA Tour.
Wow. A chance to get to 20 under for Altomare from New England, which is where the PGA Tour will be next week. TPC River Highlands. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, and the defending champ, world number 1 Dustin Johnson. Live coverage of the Travelers Championship begins Saturday and Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern. PGA Tour is on CBS. 15.
This is Jennifer Cupcho on the tee. 3 under for the day. A couple of bogeys, but that eagle makes a big difference on. I was going to say we might go eagle there. That was flagging it for Cupcho at the 15th. So she's got a birdie putt to get it to 17 under par, which would put her inside the top 10 here at the Meijer LPGA Classic.
The Meijer LPGA Classic is bringing the community together to feed the hungry through the Meijer Simply Give program. After the events of last year, Meijer recognizes this is more important than ever. Proceeds from the tournament will once again benefit Simply Give, which restocks the shelves of food pantries across the Midwest. In total, the Meijer LPGA Classic has generated more than $6.3 million, or 63 million meals, for the Meijer Simply Give program.
Yeah, tremendous work here by Meijer and all the folks involved in the Simply Give program. Cupcho for birdie at 15. Sort of turned away immediately as if to say she just didn't like that one.
No, she did give up on that fairly quickly. A player knows when it's coming off just the right spot on that putter face, if it's got a chance or not.
But Charlie Hall has made 3 eagles this week, including one from off the green. Does she? No. Again?
What?
Charlie Hall. All right, that par 5 14th. Charlie Hall has enjoyed it. It's our Aon Risk Reward Challenge hole, the season-long competition, $1 million at stake. It's based on how you do on that week's Aon Risk Reward Challenge hole. You add it up over the course of a season. You take your 2 best scores for the week. Charlie made eagle there on Thursday. Jessica Corder for birdie. Carlota Segunda was the winner of the inaugural Aon Risk Reward Challenge, and this is how the 14th has played.
And it's very much a risk-reward hole with when you see 6 eagles, only 36 bogeys, a couple of others, scoring average well under par. A player with a drive down the left side of this really has a huge advantage. You take the risk of the penalty area that is down that left side to get the reward of one of those eagles.
Louis Oosthuizen leads the PGA Tour's Aon Risk Reward Challenge at the moment, as Louis tries to win a second major championship later today out on the West Coast. We saw the 2 tee shots from our top 2 players, Nelly Corder and Leona Mcguire. And back behind that tree, there's Madeleine Saxon, the Swede. The 28-year-old played collegiately at LSU and a winner last year on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah, she had her caddy pace off a yardage to the middle of the fairway with probably a wedge in from there, so just a layup of about 120 yards.
And that's what can happen, Jerry, with that penalty area pond just on the left side. It can force players to try and bail out to the right with the tee shot.
Check in with Anna Nordquist. This is to get to 18 under par, within 4 of the lead. Yeah. And Nordquist, who was outside of the top 100 in the world last summer, now battling back to be inside the top 50. Tough stretch for Anna, but she's on the right track. Let's go to the 14th.
And you see Inji Chun making a big move today, the 2-time major champion. And Leona Mcguire in this final group with a chance to go first here.
195 to the hole. She carries a 3-wood, a 6-wood, and a 9-wood. This is the 9-wood. That's really well struck left of the hole. Just depends if it's the right number.
She hit a beauty with that club back at the par 5 8th. And left an eagle putt right in the jaws. 1 behind Nelly Corder, just 22 years old and number 4 in the world.
And just the ideal drive here. 179 to the hole and a 6-iron. Really good looking swing there, just right of the hole.
Oh,
Very nice.
another good one. An eagle putt and an eagle pitch coming up for our top 2. Britney Altomare, beautiful approach to the 16th is to get to 20 under.
This green slopes heavily from back to front.
She lost the playoff at the Evian Championship, a major, back in 2017 to Anna Nordquist, looking for her first win. Third shot for Madeleine Saxon at the par 5 14th.
Going with a pretty full wedge from 126. back off straight at it. Staying on that line.
Wow.
Almost an eagle the hard way. Tough day for Saxstrom. Playing the final group, a couple over. 15.
It's Georgia Hall on the tee. There are no fans down there by the 14th or the 15th, so it's a quiet area of the golf course.
The CBS Sunday Night Movies are back. In honor of Juneteenth, join us in watching the broadcast premiere of the powerful Academy Award-nominated film Selma, the CBS Sunday Night Movies, tonight at 8, 7 Central. The former Duke Blue Devil from Ireland played there with twin sister Lisa. She's been out watching the last couple of weeks, and you think that is not a coincidence that Leona's played well with her twin sister watching?
No, I mean, they've been so close when they've obviously playing Duke together, obviously growing up in Ireland, you know, playing on the Irish national team together, and obviously having some fun stories of those two playing foursomes together and things like that. But I think when it comes to having somebody like that, somebody who you're so close to out here on tour, it's a second pair of eyes, somebody who you trust with your swing and to help you through figuring out what's going on.
She hadn't been out to see her in the last year and a half. Now Leona, third at the par 5.
Slight uphill lie, which makes the shot so much easier being short-sided here. And dug on that first bounce like it always was going to with her technique.
Nelly with a putt for eagle in a moment. Leona will have that for birdie with Nelly up by 1. In fact, she finished top 5 in Australia last year, and then they had the pandemic shutdown. It was her first year on the LPGA Tour, came back, didn't play particularly well. But has she ever turned it on this year? Second place at the Lotte Championship for Leona. She's now had a couple of times where she's taken a lead into a round on the LPGA Tour. And my goodness, Jerry, for Nelly Corder, she came out on tour with a bang. 5th year, already 4 wins.
Yeah, and there's some that would have expected even more out of her, which is tough to believe because that's a pretty impressive career thus far, and working on number 5 right here. Very defensive effort, though, down the hill.
She did it. An eagle 3 for Nelly Corder. And her lead will be at least 2. Maybe 3, pending Mcguire's putt for birdie. She's dominated the par 5s in her 5 years on tour.
Well, and you have to assume that too. I mean, Leona Mcguire knows that this is what Nelly Corder brings to the table. This is huge for Leona. I mean, not only now on this hole, but then moving forward to the 15th and 16th. That's where Leona needs to try and make up some ground.
Well, you can see it in her eyes, Karen. You can see it in her resume. You can see it in the way she carries herself. Leona Mcguire has a lot of fight in her.
She does that. And when she played at Duke, her coach, Dan Brooks, would say he would trust her to go and do her own thing on the course. He would not have to worry about her. She was self-sufficient. He trusted her to do what she needed to do for the team. And that obviously bodes well when you're trying to play professional golf.
And she's 5 under and bogey-free, but she's down by 2. Nelly making her way to the tee at the 15th, and we welcome in Amy Rogers.
Thanks, Grant. Tuesday, Michigan's own Sophia Howard was here on site to spend time with Jessica and Nelly Corder, 2 players she dreamed of meeting. Howard was born without a right hand, but has become an avid golfer. Through the Dream on 3 Foundation, Howard was connected with the Corder sisters, and Howard flew to Florida to play concession with Nelly and Jessica. Since that first meeting, they've kept in touch and share a group chat, and Tuesday, the 14-year-old reconnected with the Corders again here on site, and Nelly said seeing Howard smile and the joy in her eyes gave her a renewed appreciation for the game that brought them all together.
It's a great story, Amy. Thank you for telling it so eloquently from Hudsonville, Michigan, just 25 miles or so from here at Blythe Field. Nelly leading it by 2 after an eagle 3 at the 14th. We move up to the 16th, and Anna Nordquist with her 2nd.
That really gives you a great view of how much uphill these players really have to trust your yardage and get a good visual on the horizon. Aggressive tee shot though by Anna to get it down to that point.
And that'll be for a third straight birdie. We move you up to the par 5 18th, and this is where we find the two-time major champion Ng Chun. She burst onto the American golf scene by winning the U.S. Women's Open in Lancaster, Pennsylvania back in 2015. She backed it up the next year, Karen, with a victory at the Evian Championship, and she's got a putt to get to 22 under. And at the very least, post a number that Nelly will have to look at. Leona Mcguire as well. This, by the way, this would match the tournament record here of 10 under par 62. She's fallen back to 62nd in the world rankings. She's been as high as number 3. And this is the kind of performance we've come to expect from Ng Chun. It's been a down couple of years for her.
It has, and it just goes to show you that being at the top of your game, being in a different country from where you were born, it's not easy. But she's found her way back. She's starting to play well again. And, you know, and she's a player that should get a lot of respect over here. She does a lot of charity work at where she won the US Open in Pennsylvania, and good for her.
Time for us to use Voice Caddy to take a look at the yardages on the par 3 15th, Karen.
Well, it's a pretty cool little device, but the first thing you're going to do is you're going to shoot the pin at 163. The back of the green is 173. You don't want to go there. Do need to carry the front at 142.
Nelly
take it right out with a 7-iron.
She did. Wow, that was right over the flag, Jerry. She is playing some fantastic golf. That mistake at number 12 was a little uncharacteristic where she went over the green. And she had a couple of loose tee shots this week. She missed it right on the 9th earlier, but right now Nelly has it dialed in.
And she's wondering where that ball ended up because it disappeared, so it's either in her head over the green or in the hole. And no crowd reaction because they're just gathered under the tree up there as close as they can get to this little area of the course.
Yeah, you can see there just under that tree on the right side, the crowd, they just can't, they're not allowed back down here, so that's why there was no real reaction for those shots at the 14th, but there certainly will be as they go in to the clubhouse. This is Leona Mcguire.
6-iron for Leona. It's just a little right of the hole. That's spading a bit too.
It's going to be safely in the middle of the green. Leona Mcguire has got to make up that 2-shot gap. Nelly Corder with the eagle at the 14th. Is she on track to win for the 5th time on tour? Such a popular player is Nelly Corder, and this is why, because she can produce the goods when she needs to. It's a 2-shot lead for Nelly here in Michigan. Britney Altomare, 4 back, has this for birdie at 17.
Yeah, could slide to the back of the green to her right, but I think she needs to keep it in the hole. After a birdie on the last one.
Oh, Jim, that moved a lot. Has had 4 runner-up finishes in her career. Karen mentioned the Evian Championship where she lost in a playoff to Anna Nordquist, and she did have a runner-up finish here a couple of years ago. Finished 1 back of Brooke Henderson. Go over to the 15th, and Saxon has found that left bunker.
Yeah, big pull off the tee with a 7-iron. Just hasn't had the kind of game today that got her into the last group on Sunday, but still fighting.
It's funny how that happens with golf sometimes. You're playing great, and all of a sudden you don't quite have it. The feelings that you get on that first tee before the final round are not the same as the feelings that you had when you were standing on that first tee every other day.
This for a 3rd straight birdie for Anna Nordquist. Maybe a little too late for the Swede. 8 wins, a couple of majors. But Karen, the leaderboard, you've got a couple of 2-time major champs at the top, Ng Chun and Anna Nordquist.
Nelly for birdie at 15.
one of the flattest greens on the course. A little bit of tilt from back left to front right, so this should be moving a little left.
Staring it down. And Nelly goes eagle birdie, and it's 25 under par for Nelly Corder here at the Meijer LPGA Classic. The lowest winning score prior to this is 21 under. Henderson did it in 2019. So Yun Yu was 21 under in 2018.
Very confident look there, Tom. Like she knew it. As soon as the ball came off the putter face, she knew she had it on the line she wanted. It felt the right way coming off that putter face. And she's weathered that early storm. Didn't get off to the best of starts. Mcguire was firing on all cylinders. And Mcguire needs to answer.
Yeah, this for birdie. Just going to drift. And Nelly was saying that you know, she needs to go out there and enjoy it. She's been listening to a couple of the guys on the PGA Tour, Bubba Watson, Matt Wolf, listening to what they have to say and realizing that sometimes she doesn't enjoy it as much as she should. Gets a little bit downhearted out there, but this week is trying to just enjoy it. So what comes first, enjoying it or the good golf? That's the age-old question, but right now Nelly has it spot on. She leads by 3. This is Leona Mcguire for par to remain 3 behind. Thought it was interesting yesterday. Yeah, well done. Leona said that all the pressure is on Nelly. Everyone expects Nelly to win, she said. Nobody expects me to do anything. Now, I happen to disagree with that. I think Leona's playing great, but maybe a little mind game there from Leona to sort of take the pressure off her shoulders as we go to the 18th.
And Britney Altomare at the par 5.
Yeah, she's got fairway wood. I think she's just trying to keep it to play, but she may not be able to get turn 2. It's going right down the middle, though.
A lot to play for Britney Altomare, trying to make another Solheim Cup team.
Hardest fairway to hit this one because of that new bunker that they put in on the right.
And you can see the challenge of this fairway canting away from the players. It's a dog leg left, back up the hill with a second shot, and now up by 3. The margin she had when the day started. Nelly Corder.
Some very sharp dog leg left. The more you can hug that left side, the shorter that second shot will be. And this is left center of the fairway as you look at it from the tee.
Well, you heard what Tom was saying, Karen, about Nelly Corder, and listening to what Bubba Watson and Matthew Wolf were saying just about, you know, not letting your score define who you are.
No, and I think for players like Nelly and Lexi, it's good to know that they're not alone, that the top PGA Tour stars also deal with the same thing. And the best way for people at home to relate to it as we watch Leona Mcguire with a driver here is to think about it as if you were in high school and you're in love with somebody in high school and yet they don't love you back and they keep kicking you to the curb. That makes you miserable, right? When golf keeps kicking you to the curb sometimes, it can make you miserable. It's that same kind of, I want you to love me back, and it doesn't. That's really where it stems from.
I'm having flashbacks.
Sorry about that, everybody listening.
Georgia Hall at the 16th. Major champion, won the AIG Women's Open, like Karen did, is at Lytham in 2018. She started the day with a 3-shot lead. Leona Mcguire tied her, but Nelly Corder, eagle birdie. She's back up by 3. The Meijer LPGA Classic is giving the community the opportunity to come together to feed the hungry through the Meijer Simply Give program. The effects of food insecurity span worldwide, impacting countless families in need. And today, Meijer is starting a new tradition by donating $25,000 on behalf of its champion to a food pantry in her community. And Nelly has selected Kids Food Basket here in Grand Rapids. If she were to win, $25,000 would go to that terrific organization. 50,000 plus kids in Kent County receive free and/or reduced meals. Good on Nelly. Georgia Hall
Oh, no. Not very committed. When you're putting those putts from downhill, you've just got to keep that putter moving down the line. You can't ease into it the way she did.
The greens are much purer than they may look. They've expanded a few of them here as we go to the 18th, and Britney Altomare second.
Yeah, 222, as I said, when she laid up a 3-wood off the tee. I don't know if she quite gets us to the front, and it's going out to the right just a little bit.
Yeah, it just looked like she was a bit late on that.
I think she's hitting it up there so she can make a pretty easy birdie.
Yep.
Second shot for Anna Nordquist. They moved the tee up on this hole all 4 days. So players driving it in the fairway, get some run, and then just a short shot in. Nordquist made 3 birdies in a row, could make it 4 in a row there, get to 20 under. Let's go back to 16.
Madeleine Saxon.
Yes. 139 actual yards of the hole. Would you say 15 yards out onto it? Yeah, so 154. Players have struggled all week long and every year to get it back to this hole. It's such a significant slope. But with the way this green's contoured, you could pull this well left of the flag and end up with a tap in.
It's so hard to get that kind of thought in your mind, though, Jerry, that there's more room up there than you actually can see.
You can't see anything.
Oh. Good point.
This might get back there. That's left.
Bowl effect.
All right. It'll be quick with a bit of break to it.
You're not 100%. I'm just thinking if it's 22 with help, you're going to hit this at least 10 on the green.
Well, what was I flying at 43 one time?
43. You're flown at 43. I mean, that day that we hit this downwind, we hit it 50. Yeah, 11. I thought it was perfect, right at it.
Actual's 137, so they're not adjusting for as much as you would think going up the hill. But Jason McDeed, her caddy, just told me on the last hole, well, actually a rhetorical question, how far is the ball going today? They've hit it past so many holes. This is going to get back there.
Very nice.
She opened with 3 straight birdies yesterday, closed with 3 straight to shoot a career best 62 and to go from 5 back of Leona Mcguire to 3 ahead, and that's what she is now.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I go hard at this.
You can go hard at it and pretty much straight at it.
Driver off the tee, and Mcguire is rewarded. Just 125 actual to the hole. Breeze is helping, but down in the valley where they're playing, you just can't feel much. Starts a little right. Really good.
Leona Mcguire not going quietly. Looking for her first career title and a first for Ireland on the LPGA Tour. Britney Altomare, 3rd at the par 5, 18th.
Yeah, straightforward chip shot, and I think that's what she was trying to do. It's a short game like this, that's a good shot there.
Exactly. It was able to loft it up over those little cluster of sprinkler heads on the fringe there. Some players might have wanted to have tried to putt that from there, but because her short game's so good, she's able to lob one on there.
This is Nordquist at the 17th for 4 birdies in a row. Just be a 4 for Nordquist. She's 5th on her own right now.
Nelly Corder went into the weekend 5 shots behind Leona Mcguire. 62 yesterday, 11 birdies, just the single bogey, and today 5 under par, but it was a bit of a sketchy start for Nelly today.
Well, it was. We've seen Nelly in the past where if she gets off to a bit of a tough start, she finds it hard to pick herself back up. Not so much this week. It's almost like the inspiring words that she heard from those PGA Tour pros have really kind of got into her head to add some perspective, and she's trusting her natural ability and talents that everything's going to work out just fine. She doesn't need to force anything. She's still got this.
those words were especially important coming off missing the cut at the U.S. Women's Open when she shot a score 78 in the opening round that tied her highest score since joining the LPGA Tour. And what did she do yesterday? Her lowest score ever, 62.
Well, and let's not forget that women's golf in America is looking for the complete superstar, a dominant player, and whoever is on the top of that list now is the one that people kind of pile onto. They want to, you know, show their support for Nelly, but they also want to see that come back from her too. That can add a lot of pressure on somebody as young as Nelly, even though she's had 5 years out here.
We got two from the same family who fit that bill. Jessica Corder at the 18th for birdie.
Yeah, drove it in the right trees and then laid it up and then chip shot to there. Beautiful birdie. Good way to finish.
Jessica won the first event of the LPGA Tour season, the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions, and then Nelly won the next one, the Gainbridge LPGA over at Lake Nona. Neither has won a major. They'll have another chance next week at Atlanta Athletic Club, where 10 years ago Keegan Bradley, nephew of the great LPGA Hall of Fame member Pat Bradley, won the PGA Championship in 2011. Altomare. She's tied for third. And a 64. Mcguire is closer for birdie. Nelly's going first at 16.
Very much on the quick side, turning a little left.
Snapping for it to slow down. She put that, yeah, did she put that where she wanted to, I think?
I believe she did, and you can't really blame her for being aggressive and letting that ball run past. She's been putting so well that you're not really thinking about the putt coming back. No doubt in my mind, there was no scenario where she thought that was going to miss.
Yeah. The door is slightly ajar for Leona Mcguire, who's been a great putter on the Symetra Tour, from which she graduated in 2019, and both years, Jerry, on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things that you can learn to be a good putter if you're not a good putter, but you can never learn to be a great putter. I think you're born with it, and she was born with it. This is a huge moment right here. You don't get any bigger. Make this, shrink up that hole a little bit for your leader, and you never know. Turning left.
Here it comes. Game is still on. Leona Mcguire back to within 2, and Nelly with a putt for par coming up with 2 to play. Another look.
Well, I can't emphasize enough just how, you know, difficult these putts are with them breaking so much. And I mean, that was what I like to describe as a very patient putt. She's not trying to force it in the hole. That reeks of somebody who's confident with that club.
Saxstrom for her par.
Yeah, and this was one of the reasons I think Nelly hit her putt a little harder than she ordinarily would have, perhaps down the hill, because Saxstrom had the downhiller and left it 4+ feet short.
Too many squares, double box there at the 15th. Began the day 4 shots off the lead, but it's dropped back to 40th place. Birdie for Leona Mcguire. She's within 2, and Nelly Corder has this to stay 2 ahead.
A little perplexed on this read, Jason Toner. I think it's very straight. Putt from behind the hole actually turned right to left, so you would think left center, but that first putt really fooled her.
Her first 3-putt of the week reduces her lead to 1. Hit a beautiful approach The 3-putt from above the hole, and Nelly Corder's lead is 1.
This is the tee shot at the 17th. Bunkers down the left, trees on the right, dog legs left to right. Leona Mcguire on the tee.
Ton of slope in that fairway too. Typically one of the most intimidating tee shots on the course. Second hardest hole of the week. This starts right.
Maybe too far right if you've got enough to carry it.
Get lucky.
And it's come down between the two trees. So
that's jail.
Yeah, tree trouble. And the flag on the right of the green today. And Marshall putting the flag in there, so Leona will know where the ball is. Let's go to 18.
And Anna Nordquist with her second at this par 5. Alone in 5th place. 2 behind Inji Chun and Britney Altomare for 3rd.
And all these players, even though the chances of winning have gone, they're still trying to get something out of the game. They're still trying to get a good result. As much to do with the fact that they're playing a major championship next week. This is all confidence building, trying to get their golf game in the right place.
Good chance for eagle for Anna coming up.
Leona Mcguire in trouble. Nelly trying to put one in the fairway at the 17th.
Thought she might club back a little. Get the 3-wood or maybe even the 7 with this driver.
Yesterday she was aggressive, Jerry. She knocked it over the tree on the right.
She can get down there with just a stone's throw from the green.
I actually like this play because she's long enough to take it over all the trouble.
Bring it home!
That's a really good line if it just doesn't go through the fairway.
It is going to stay in the fairway. It's huge. Massive drive from Nelly Corder. Exactly what she needed. So this is what the first page of the leaderboard looks like right now. Plenty of numbers in the 60s, including a 64 from Britney Altomare, and she is with Amy Rogers.
Thanks, Tom. Britney mounting a Sunday charge here, moving up into the top 10. Your second top 10 in your last 3 starts. What's come together for you with your game over these last few weeks?
Yeah, just honestly just trying to play golf, have some fun, get out of my own way, and just relax out there and have a good time. You know, my caddy's really helped me with that. You know, she keeps me laughing and entertained, so it's been great. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge on a week like this when you see players going so low? How do you stay aggressive day after day?
Well, the conditions were really great this week. Greens are pretty soft, so just stay aggressive, like attack when you can, and you know, when you can't, just, you know, play smart, and I think we did a really good job of that this week. So.
What does a finish like this do for you now heading into a major next week at the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship?
Yeah, it's a major confidence boost. I mean, I feel like I did pretty much everything really well this week, so I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, great playing this week. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is Jennifer Cupcho back at the 18th.
Some healthy looking rough that she's playing from there, so expect a bit of tumble from this. I just landed in that little upslope at the front of the green. Nicely done.
And a chance to move into the top 10. Back to 17.
Just a moment ago on the green, Georgia Hall for a birdie. Might move quite a bit. So Georgia's 3 under for the day, inside the top 10 right now. They're disappointed to have not made a birdie since the 13th.
Infinite, the new Paramount Plus original movie starring Mark Wahlberg and directed by Anton Fuqua, is now streaming only on Paramount Plus. Every day is kind of a training day. LPGA Tour, whether you've won 4 times like Nelly Corder or looking for your first like Leona Mcguire.
So that's the 17th. And Leona Mcguire trying to figure out what she has got here. Jerry is on the scene, as we can see.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought, but not easy. She's got 131 to the hole, and that's only 117 front. And she can get it up over that tree in front of her, but I don't know if she can get it up over that tree and fly at 117. It's a bit of a downhill lie. It's a good wispy lie, but a downhill lie. The tree's only 40 yards in front of her, and it looks like it's 40 yards tall. I haven't seen that shot out of her.
I was going to say, Jerry, I haven't seen her play those high towering shots. She's going to have to work really hard to get this one over that front bunker, isn't she?
I honestly think pitching wedge won't get there. She's going to have to open up the face a little bit, and maybe she could open up the face of a 9-iron a lot. Stay back a little bit, swing as hard as you can, and hope you catch it right, because it's going to take every ounce of swing speed she has to pull this off.
Does she have more room if she hits a high draw, like if she sends it out a bit more to the right and draws it round?
Yeah, she could land on the right edge perhaps and take it over the shorter tree, but that's a really risky play. Well, they're both risky.
She does have a tendency with her swing, Jerry, to kind of drop it a bit on the inside, and the worry would be that she would drop it too much on the inside, trying to help it up in the air and catch it a bit heavy.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, it's better for the height too.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if it comes off, you're sort of almost trying to get that cameraman and hit it pretty hard. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Everything's helping for that, especially if we're hitting that blade, isn't it? Happy with that? Okay. Let's go now.
Seem like they're pretty comfortable with the shot that she's going to go with here.
Dermot was pretty confident. He's coaching her to go a little right. There is some slope there. It's a little bit less of a height to carry, but she wasn't sure if wedge was enough. We'll see.
Got it over.
Got over it.
Is it enough to get there?
What a shot.
Where did it end up, Jerry?
It's on the green. Looks to be about 25, 30 feet, right in the center of it.
Yeah, so she's got to look at birdie, but getting out of jail there, and if it's a birdie or a par, you could say she's getting out of jail for free with no mistake. Saxon driven it well.
Yep, looks like just a 54-degree wedge, 100 yards to the hole. Send it just a bit, but it should spin.
Yeah, going to get away with it. Only 2 players in the field, the 72 that made the cut, who are over par for this final round. Angel Yin had a tough day, finished at 5 over, and Madeleine Saxon, who's 4 over for the day. Now Nelly.
72 yards. Huge tee shot when she needed it, bringing this in low.
Okay, Nelly has a 1-shot lead, remember, and a much better look at birdie on the 17th, but the 18th is a par 5. 1 shot in it. It's close here at the Meijer LPGA Classic. That's how the leaderboard looks. Nelly Corder with a 1-shot lead here at the 17th. Leona Mcguire has a birdie putt, and from what we've seen from Leona over the last few weeks, but also with what she's done in the amateur game, Jerry, it seems like she relishes these kind of moments.
And that is a special makeup of a person's character. These moments are all about heart. We've seen it from the greatest over and over, and she's still trying to etch her name into that conversation of people to be contended with on a weekly basis. And at some point, you got to do it the first time.
This to tie the lead.
Turning right.
Enough pace to get there. Not quite. That's frustrating. Leaves it right in the jaws. So that's going to be a par. And now Nelly Corder will then have a putt to take a 2-shot advantage to the 72nd tee. Could be all important. We'll go to the 18th.
We saw the 2nd shot for Anna Nordquist to this point. This for Eagle and a share of 3rd. Settled for a 66, and she will head to Atlanta Athletic Club. Twice a major champion. She won the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship in her 5th start as a pro, as a member of the LPGA Tour. Back in 2009. The Evian Championship in 2017. Stalwart the European Solheim Cup team, as is this player for the Americans.
Nelly Corder. This will make life a bit easier playing that final hole. This for birdie.
Wasting no time. It's uphill. She's under the hole. Should turn just a little left.
Gave it a good run, but it turned more than she expected. So it's going to be a one-shot lead, and it is certainly closer than it looked a few holes ago when Nelly went eagle birdie and had three-shot advantage.
Nelly Corder, with a victory today, would have her 5th career title. In this, her 5th season on tour. She would be the first player with multiple wins. She won the Gainbridge LPGA down at Lake Nona, where Leona Mcguire is a member. And she would move into first place in the race to the CME Globe, from which 60 players advanced to the CME Group Tour Championship in November. And at number 4 in the world, highest ranked American should go into a major championship next week with an abundance of momentum after missing the cut at the U.S. Women's Open just a couple of weeks ago and taking last week off. Left of the fairway, another major champion, Georgia Hall. To win there in England, what did it mean, Karen, for the country and for Georgia?
Well, I mean, as a player, to win your national open is such a huge deal. I mean, all the fans were with her, the galleries were supporting her across the way, and it's the one championship that you dream of winning when you're the little girl on the putting green making putts. It's the one thing that you want more than anything else. And it means that your family, your parents, your friends, they all have a chance to see you win and achieve. And it's almost as if it's more of a reward for them than it is for yourself, because they sacrifice so much for you to be there.
Countrywoman Charlie Hull, who was the first from England to win the LPGA Tour since you did it in 2004. Charlie, a winner of the CME Group Tour Championship in 2016.
But England really starting to produce a lot of really good players now. You've got Bronte Law now, also a winner on the LPGA Tour. Jodie Hewitt-Shadoff is a player that hasn't won yet, but quite conceivably will do in the near future. Such a good player.
Mel Reid.
Exactly.
A dozen years between victories for English women, between your win in 2004 and Charlie, but 4 since. Leona Mcguire won back on the tee at the par 5 18th, trying to give Ireland its first ever LPGA Tour title. She's been great on the par 5s, as has Nelly, but she's going to need to be really great here.
And she's not trying to do it with the tee shot. Clubbing back to 3 wood to try and keep it out of that fairway bunker that she found earlier in the week. That is left center of the fairway with driver. It would go through the fairway.
Wow. Just stays in by a pace.
That's huge to keep that in the fairway. That looks like some thick rough, and that would have really hindered her from getting there in 2.
Now a powerful player in her own right, Madeleine Saxon.
She's got the power to probably maybe take on that bunker. It'd be really close. She's looking left of it.
And that bunker, Jerry, that's one of the new bunkers that they put into play and has really changed this hole drastically for the players.
Shrunk the fairway for the average hitters, yes. It's only about 258 to fly it today, and this is right at the center of it, and it looks like it's going to get over it.
263 yards of carry on that.
The Swede, who hears a lot of Go Tigers when she's out there on the LPGA Tour, played at LSU. And now Nelly Corder came straight onto the LPGA Tour off the Symetra Tour, just 22 years old and leading by 1.
If she hits her best here, it's going to be almost impossible not to make birdie. Yeah, that's good. That's high and long.
Big, right where you want it. Advantage on the scoreboard, right down the pipe. Nelly, after the 62 on Saturday, getting the applause. The crowds haven't had that full attendance on the LPGA Tour since the pandemic hit last spring. Karen, she parred the first couple of holes. Leona made a birdie at 2, and then Nelly did this at 3.
And this was a good move for Nelly, hitting the fairway, but really playing to her strength. I mean, she's been so accurate with her iron shots.
She would make that to stay 1 ahead, but she bogeyed the par 5 4th. She was tied with Leona until this at 6.
This was one of those holes that Jerry reported how long she's been hitting her approach shots. It doesn't matter if you're going to chip in.
It was a tie again when they made the turn. Par 5 10th, green side in 2. This was her 3rd.
Completely different style of chip shot here, getting it on the green quickly, running it up a little slow, and making it easy on herself.
Give her the lead back after Mcguire made par. Then at the 11th, a terrific tee shot at the par 3. Mcguire still had a birdie putt to come, but she missed. Nelly made. It was a 2-shot lead at that point. And then at the 14th, this for eagle.
Little downhill, moving to the left. Count it.
The leader on the LPGA Tour in par 5 scoring average will take a 2-shot lead to the 15th, and then the back of the green, down the hill, disappears right into the cup. Nelly's lead was 3 at that point. But at the 16th, it was a 2-shot swing, a birdie for Leona, bogey, 3-putt for Nelly. That's why the lead is 1. Both players in the fairway, Nelly and Leona. This is up by the green, the 3rd for Georgia Hall. Georgia backed up that 2018 AIG Women's Open victory with a win in Portland last fall. She said winning in the United States was a huge goal of hers.
Well, because for 2 reasons. One, she didn't go to college over here, so she's having to get used to the style of golf out here in America, and that's a big deal. Players that play college golf do have an advantage when they come and play on the LPGA Tour, but it shows her game travels. She won on a links course, which she was very familiar with at Lytham St. Anne's. So Portland, completely different.
Georgia Hall was born the week that our colleague Nick Faldo won his 3rd Masters. On the Friday in 1996, that April, she was named Georgia. Now Charlie Hall. How about another eagle to finish it off? She had 4 this week. In line to represent Great Britain at the Olympic Games coming up in early August in Tokyo.
It's going to be a bit of a tough fight between her and Georgia, though. I mean, this is really coming down to the finish line.
To next week, yeah. At the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship next week. That'll be the last event for players to earn points. It's based on the world ranking. And now Georgia for birdie. Back in the fairway, Nelly Corder and Leona Mcguire waiting to hit their second shots, with Nelly leading Leona by 1. This for a share of 6th. You never know. Putts like that, could that be the difference moving up in the world ranks? Going to tie for 6th as Hull is back outside the top 10. She's 55th in the world ranks. Charlie Hall is 40th. That's how the leaderboard looks on another thrilling week at Blythefield. Every winner of this Meijer LPGA Classic either already had a major championship or went on to win one. And Nelly Corder and Leona Mcguire are certainly players that you expect will have a major championship by the time it's all said and done. Suo, the 18th.
Good soft hands on that putter.
25 years old, born in Korea, moved to Australia at a young age. Counts Kari Webb as one of her mentors. Pretty good one to have.
Well, Kari Webb really gives back to the young players from Australia. She has a scholarship that really supports them, and she brings them out to America to one of the majors.
Well, here we are. Leona Mcguire, one back of Nelly Corder, and she'll go first, and a chance to at least give Nelly something to look at.
Yeah, 52 yards behind Nelly. That's 226 of the hole, 211 front, her 5 wood that's adjusted to an actual 6 wood loft. Really, really well struck. A really good line.
Has a seriously determined look on her face there.
Say, what a shot from Leona Mcguire. That'll be for eagle. .26 years old from County Cavan in Ireland. Looking for her first win. Madeleine Saxon got her first early in 2020. Here's her second.
7 iron. Beauty. Just left.
That'll do. Nice way to finish there for Madeleine.
Well, it's right in front of Nelly Corder. She saw where Leona Mcguire's second shot came to rest. Here's her second.
Little breeze helping 174 hole and an 8 iron. A little bit of adrenaline here. This is going left, right at the edge of the green.
Whoa.
Oh.
Miss it, Karen?
I think she tried to get a little bit more out of it. I think she was a little concerned that may not have been enough club.
It was solidly struck.
Huh. Oh, I think it was solidly struck and it was still just at that front left. Maybe it wasn't enough club.
Talked about the contrast of these two players. Nelly Corder, part of one of the great American sporting families. Older sister Jessica, 5.5 years her senior. A winner on the LPGA Tour 6 times, including the season opener. Younger brother Sebastian now is a winner on the men's tennis tour. There's Jessica waiting. Sophia Howard, AIG Women's Open champion. Good pal, went to USC. And then Leona Mcguire went through the amateur ranks 135 weeks as the #1 ranked amateur, and she is sponsored by Modest Golf Management, which is run by Niall Horan of One Direction. And the amount of attention that Niall Horan has brought, thanks to players like Leona Mcguire, is significant.
Madeleine Saxon, Leona Mcguire, and Nelly Corder.
Let's enjoy the applause. We haven't had it in a long time. Stance is something to watch here for Nelly. Leona's got a putt for eagle. She's just now getting a look at it. Jerry Foltz is getting a look as well. How about the challenge of this third shot coming up?
Lie is not bad. It's kind of wispy grass, but it's very hearty, strong-looking grass. It's the stance, as you mentioned, is going to be really brutal.
Well, and you can see that the grass is neither growing with her or against her, but it is towards her feet. Ball above her feet too, Jerry, and this will be awkward.
Always comes out left. Good news is all she has to do is chop it, and it's going to run quite a bit.
We know about her power. How would you assess her short game, Karen?
We've seen some really great things from her. We've seen her chip in today already. She can draw on that past.
And a quick player.
Very quick.
Great shot.
Wow.
Now, if she makes that, then Leona's going to have to make her putt for eagle to tie her.
You see how far she's having to grip down that onto the shaft, down lower than the grip. That's to try and even out that lie to stop it from going left, as Jerry was saying. That was very well managed, well played, and great to see her playing so quickly too, not giving herself so much time to think about it.
Well, there's young Sophia Howard. Looks like she had a ball game earlier today. Watching with Jessica. She's the young girl from Hudsonville, Michigan. Had a chance to meet and play with Jessica and Nelly down in Florida. Caroline Masson is the fiancée of Nelly's caddy, Jason McDeed. That was her on the right. And the stage is set, and it's a big stage as the fans have come back to the LPGA Tour. You've got a player from Ireland with a putt for eagle to force Nelly to make.
A little bit on the slower side, but that's about it.
That was not a player trying to cozy it up to the hole, was it?
She knows in her head that, you know, she's already given Nelly hers, and she wasn't going to take a chance. She wanted to make sure she gave that ball a chance.
Is she still away, I wonder? So, before the putts for birdie for Mcguire and Corder, Madeleine Saxon. Always a bit of an odd feeling, isn't it, Karen, when you're watching what's amounted to a match play situation and you're a bit of the accidental tourist here on a day that didn't go your way?
No, I mean, you're still trying to finish off strong. You still want to get a good result in, but at the end of the day, when you're in Madeleine's position, you kind of just want to hurry up and get off this green and let everything unfold the way it is with the other two players in your group.
She'll finish up here, tap in birdie.
This is where having long legs helps.
75 for Saxon. 74, beg your pardon. So Nelly is first. If this drops, she wins. Take much time. She's done it again. Nelly Corder is an LPGA winner for the 5th time. And the 2nd time in 2021. And that is her 11th consecutive round in the 60s at Blythefield Country Club. She joins a most impressive roster of Meijer LPGA Classic champions. Now for a closing birdie, Leona Mcguire. She made Nelly earn it.
She really did, and a lot of the times this is something that a player like Leona is going to learn from, that sometimes no matter how good you can play, there's always that chance that somebody might just play better. And that's what happened. And ultimately, you know, for her in that position, it's so hard to get yourself up emotionally to make that putt when you know that you're done.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many times we've seen somebody have a putt to tie or win in pressure-packed situations and leave it short.
Yeah.
She went after it.
Lexi Thompson, just a couple of weeks ago at the U.S. Women's Open, proven winner, major champion. It's going to be a bogey-free 66, and not quite enough. Nelly won it.
She did. Her weekend performance, starting yesterday when she shot that 62, really set the stage for this victory.
Madeleine Saxon, Leona Mcguire, and
Jessica. On the song there. Boyfriend Andreas Athanasiou plays for the Los Angeles Kings. Here to watch her this week. He used to play for the Grand Rapids Griffins, interleague hockey team. He watches Nelly win for the 5th time and 2nd time this year. And she didn't hit her best second shot, but the pitch to here and this to close it out. 25 under par, one of the lowest 72-hole totals in LPGA Tour history. Jessica was watching back at Lake Nona at the Games LPGA. It was the weekend that Jessica turned 28, and their younger brother Sebastian's about to turn 21. Yeah, it began as a 3-shot lead for Nelly Corder. Final round commenced. It ends with a 2-shot advantage over Leona Mcguire, who pushed Nelly across the finish line. We'll hear from our champion, Nelly Corder, in a moment on CBS. As we near the halfway point of the 2021 LPGA Tour season, we have our first multiple winner, Nelly Corder, who won the 2nd event of the season down at Lake Nona in Orlando, has won today here in West Michigan, the Meijer LPGA Classic. 62-67 on the weekend. And a putt at the 18th, knowing that Leona Mcguire, whose mark is right there in your view, had a putt for birdie. Nelly put it away. Nice water in her veins. Some good memories. Andreas Athanasiou played hockey here. He's with the LA Kings, and he watches Nelly Corder. Had her young friend Sophia Howard here watching and cheering her on. Had Jessica Corder cheering her on, and Leona Mcguire bogey-free 66. Did just about all she could do. Had Nelly Corder a 5th win, and she's with Amy Rogers.
Thanks, Grant. Nelly, congratulations on a hard-fought win today. You took a 3-stroke lead into today, but we saw the momentum shift back and forth between you and Leona throughout the round. What was the biggest challenge today?
Leona's a really good player. Honestly, she kept me on my toes all day. You know, I had to play good golf. There's a lot of birdie opportunities out here. I started off a little rough, not hitting many fairways, but kept telling myself to battle through it and just to have fun out here.
We talked yesterday about your renewed perspective and just not putting too much pressure on yourself. Seeing that strategy pay off for you this week, how will you use that going forward?
I think it's always going to kind of be a battle. You're going to go and say one week it's going to be a lot easier than others, but you know, as long as I kind of have that in the back of my head, I think it's a good first step.
Well, definitely took a great step in the right direction. Congratulations on your 2nd win of the season.
Thank you.
Take a look at our updated Race to the CME Globe standings. Nelly Corder pushes past Lydia Ko. It's also the 5th win by an American player, the 2nd for Nelly Corder. Thailand has a couple of players with 2 victories. Korea has a couple of wins this year, but American golf, solid. Leona Mcguire moves up to 13th in the Race to the CME Globe. What a performance by her this week. She's with Jerry.
And Grant, when I was walking Nelly up to the 18th green to be interviewed by Amy, she said, how solid of a player is Leona? When you hear that kind of praise from your peers, does it give you a little more confidence in what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nelly's one of the best players in the world and went toe-to-toe with her pretty much all of today, and I knew it was going to be a battle. I knew I had a lot of golf in front of me, and you can't give a world number 4 sort of 3-shot head start. But yeah, I mean, this week's going to be huge heading into a major. I knew I was playing some great golf, and yeah, it's going to be a huge confidence booster for the rest of the season.
Playing great golf indeed. You've succeeded at every level upon which you've played. Now at the highest level, to be able to bring out some of your best stuff when it mattered most, what did you prove to yourself?
Yeah, I'm really proud of how I played all week. Played some great golf, pulled off shots when I needed to, had some really nice putts when I needed to, and obviously got off to a really nice start, which I have been doing, and backed it up with 3 more solid rounds after that. So really, really proud of how I fought this week, and same in San Francisco last week. So just didn't give myself quite enough in the end, but I mean, Nelly's a great player, and very proud of my 2nd place finish.
It was a really good week, as players say. Congratulations on that, and best of luck next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leona.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. This one's for you.
That's great. She was born 6 months after Peter won the Australian Open tennis championship. And Jessica won when Peter had a birthday earlier this year. All coming together for the Corders. Nelly wins for the 5th time in this, her 5th season on the LPGA Tour. As we wrap things up here at the Meijer LPGA Classic, you think of Nelly Corder, and she's a player right out of Central Casting, 22 years old, a young American, 5 times a winner now on the LPGA Tour. The sky seems to be the limit for Nelly Corder.
It does, especially now she has a final piece of the puzzle seems to be in place. That little attitude adjustment that she figured out from listening to Bubba Watson talk at the US Open this week, exactly how to handle some of the pressures that these players deal with week in, week out, how to not internalize what golf can sometimes do for you and just go out there and enjoy playing golf. And we saw that come out today. Has enormous amounts of talent. To see it happen for her is good.
Some big events coming up on the LPGA Tour. We've got the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship at Atlanta Athletic Club next week. But for Leona Mcguire, an opportunity to play in the Olympics, which she is on pace to do in early August, and then possibly can represent Ireland in the Solheim Cup. She'd be the first from that country to play in the Solheim.
And we're seeing with Leona a really steep learning curve. She's put herself in a lot of different situations recently these past few weeks, and I really feel like she has an opportunity to really grow the game in Ireland. Nobody from Ireland has won on on a professional tour in the women's game. So for her to put herself in this position with the backing of somebody like Niall Horan is really quite a special thing for Irish golf, Irish women's golf. And I really hope that this starts a trend in the right direction to see more players from Ireland coming out and playing.
They're putting an LET LPGA event together in August in Ireland. Modest Golf Management. As we mentioned, it was a 3-shot lead for Nelly when the day started. They were tied at the turn, and then Nelly with an eagle at the 14th. Her lead was 2 at that point, and then at the 15th, the par 3 to go up by 3.
Well, in a hole where everything could come undone so quickly, but Nelly kind of puts the hammer down here with that
birdie. 2-shot swing at the 16th. Nelly missed her birdie putt. You can see her mark down there below the hole. Leona for birdie.
Leona in Leona fashion says, not so fast, I'm still here.
Nelly would miss this putt for par, and suddenly the 3-shot lead was down to 1. Each made par at the 17th, and then you go to the par 5 18th. It's played as the easiest hole all week. Nelly tugged her approach, pitched to here, and buried the birdie putt to put this Meijer LPGA Classic away. With her sister Jessica looking on, her young friend Sophia Howard hoisting her 5th trophy. It did seem all come together for Nelly. Her boyfriend Andreas here watching, Jessica here, and Sophia.
Always is that way. I mean, this is something that she's going to get used to.
She got the microphone from Rick Keys, the chairman here at Meijer, and she played with him in the Pro-Am. And it's been a good omen for champions here in the past. 25 under par, 62-67 for Nelly Corder to come from 5 back through 36 holes to win it by 2. Jessica there, a good week, top 25 finish. Madeleine Saxon fell back on this Sunday. Well, this is, as we said, the first of 2 final rounds you can see on CBS on the LPGA Tour this season. We've got a Saturday finish at the Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational in Midland, Michigan, coming up July 17th. And coming up next on CBS, NWSL coverage as the Portland Thorn host Kansas City. It's been a great week here in Belmont, Michigan. Thanks to our producer, Jesse West, director Mel Hundley. For Karen Stupples, Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz, Jim Gallagher Jr., and Amy Rogers, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching the LPGA on CBS. Congratulations to the American Nelly Corder, her 5th career title.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. This one's for you. Good.